Well, hey, neighbor, it's me, Angie. Come on in. This is our live neighborhood chat. Yeah, I didn't put up a I thank y'all for coming and visiting me today. I'm glad y'all were here. And I'm going to have to tell you all that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And I will have my neighborhood.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. It's time for the calm before the storm.
And look who's here. Miss Ella.
Ella.
And Justine.
Welcome in, ladies. We didn't know if StreamYard was going to work or not. We were watching you, Ella, you and Victoria, and we saw what went on during your auction. And well, there's Suzanne and Mike.
And Mike.
Welcome in, everyone. So Josie and I were just praying that StreamYard would be back up and running by the time we were going to go live. And it was, and it is.
But we had a second plan.
Yeah, we did. Of course, Josie, she always comes through. She was on her toes. She knew she had a backup plan. And I was like, yes, let's do that.
Well, we were going to use the same site that Johnny uses. And I got on there. It was working. So.
There's Pamela. Welcome in.
And Suzanne and Mike. And thank you, Mike, for talking about losing Pam and Robin. Appreciate that.
We're gonna, when a few more people come in, we're gonna talk about Robin just a moment and share about what she meant to our community and just give her moment, because anytime anybody's a part of who we are, we want to give them their moment of being a part of us, and us being a part of them. So I feel like we should talk about Robin, Rest in peace, Robin. My heart is oh, that's so sweet, Mike. I thought about you, Mike, when I heard about it. And Josie had already said she talked to you, and I was gonna say, have you talked to Mike? But she had already said she had talked to you.
He said, this big guy, this furry beard, has a heart of gold. He tries to act tough, but
he acts like the tough guy, but he's just melts.
Yeah. I gave your secret away, Mike.
What was Robin's chat name? We Haul Robin.
Yeah, We Haul Robin. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I met Robin either in Josie's jewelry auction or the Scrap Dog channel, Frank and Angel. I know I started talking to her in both of those chats.
Yep.
Oh, Meemaw Robin. I thought it was We Haul Robin. She must have changed it.
I thought it was We Haul too.
Yeah. She must have changed it. Hey, Claudette. Welcome in.
Hey, Claudette.
I hadn't pulled us up on YouTube to share us out. I didn't let's see if I can see if it come up if it said we were going live. Well, StreamYard's been doing all kind of craziness today.
Lena just sent me a message. I hope it's not me, Robin. because she asked me
Yep.
who Robin Miller was.
Well, you need to let her know, and
Yeah, I'm sending it right now.
she's gonna be heartbroken too because she loved Robin too. If y'all don't mind, share us out, and we want to get people in here. We got a good topic tonight, as always. It's always a good topic. Oh, she changed it, Justine said.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
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 Um,
Oh, wow.
from the funny stories. Yes, Susan. The lady from the funny stories. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Nikki, you're so sweet.
Oh,
Thank
hi,
you.
Nikki. Yes, Nikki is a sweet lady.
Oh, goodness. Let me get this going here. See if I can send her a little happy here. This
Super Chill.
Thank you, Nikki.
That is, I love
Thank
the
you.
owl in yours. That is so cute.
Nana Tink did all that for me.
That's neat. Robin
It
was a
says
lovely
Robin
lady.
was a riot when she had the funny story video. Yes.
Yes. And if you know, it's like I went back and watched some of Pam's stuff. You get a little bit, that sadness all of a sudden. I plan on going back and watching Robin.
She sent me the cutest video of her grandson and also videos of Jinx and
Mhm.
Banjo playing I Will Miss Her. Yes.
Yeah. I got the message early this morning and I was still in bed and I had to get up. I could not go back to sleep.
Robin was a lovely lady and such a good sense of humor. Always laughter with will be missed dearly. Yes.
Yep.
If anybody hasn't viewed that video that Josie has on her other channel, Josie Cares, she did a show about people wanting to tell a story, something funny.
Mhm.
Y'all might
Funny
want to go
story.
back and view that. You'll know what she looks like. You can put a person, to the name. You'll know what she looks like because she told several funny stories that night on that program. So you'll be able to see her.
And Robin and I'll try to summarize this really quick. And I think even if she was alive, she would mind me telling this story. When Robin first came into my auctions was like 3 or 4 years ago. She did not have, a credit card or a card to put auction, if she wanted to buy something. And she asked me if she could send me cash. And over the time period, we both built up a trust. And she'd send me X amount, and I would, in an email, itemize everything and then let her know how much she had left. And we both laughed about it one day because I didn't know at first, I didn't know her, that I built up a trust for her, and she felt the same way. She built up a trust for me. And it worked beautifully. And eventually she did get a card and everything. But she was a very honest woman, just fabulous.
I'm so thankful that you, the chat, are sharing your memories of her and how you felt about her. I think someone that has passed away deserves their moment and they need to be talked about and, told how much they are going to be missed and loved. And that's why I was sharing with Josie backstage. A lot of people don't feel comfortable saying, I love you, and I say that a lot, but I used to could never say it when I was at a younger age in my 20s and 30s. I didn't say it as much as I say it now. but you never know when someone's not going to be here. And
We're
I'm going to let
tomorrow.
Josie elaborate on that, because she was talking about that backstage about, we're not promised,
Not
the
promised.
next minute, really. And she made a good point. So I'm going to let her elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, let's see if I remember what I even said.
You
Anyway,
can start from scratch.
I feel like this. We all make plans. God wants us to make plans. But actually, we're not promised tomorrow. We don't know if our plans even are going to happen. We only have today. And so you live each day to the fullest. That's why when you leave someone, like say your children go home or whatever, I always tell my son and my grandkids, I love you.
Right.
And my daughter-in-law, you never know about tomorrow. And can you remember exactly what
No,
I talked so much, I have a hard time remembering.
You did great on that. That's what I wanted you to say. And also, it's amazing because this month is on the 4 types of love.
Yep.
And that's really what this is all about, is loving each other, because we don't know if we have tomorrow or not. And you don't want to have any regrets towards somebody that you may have wanted to say that to, and you just bring yourself to say it, because maybe you might be embarrassed, or think the person would think you were strange, or, you just didn't have the courage to do it. But I was sharing with Josie, I really don't care what somebody thinks about me saying that or doing that. It's who I am.
Yeah.
And if I'm me, then I'm okay with it. And what you think is neither here nor there about my personality. I'm not going to judge you for yours. Don't judge me for mine. But I see that Joanna has come in.
Hi, Joanna. Good to see you, young lady.
We will miss her for sure. Yeah. She said, I'm sad to hear it. Yeah, Joanna, it was sad. Claudette said, we have a family fam jam with our kids and granddaughter, and every morning we chat briefly. Thanks for FaceTime. Yes. Yeah. See, that's the way I talk to Berkeley. She and I have a tea party on, doing FaceTime. But, so, Josie, you think we need to get started, or?
Yeah. I think let's see, I have my notes. You have your notes. Why don't you start like where we were talking backstage? We'll start at the bottom, go up as far as the stages.
Okay. We got Kim in here. She said, hey, Angie, hope you have a great day. Thank you, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
I don't know if you all are aware of this or not. I wasn't for a long time. My mom never said I love you, but she bought Teddy with I love you on it. Oh, that's sweet. Some people just can't say it, and that's okay. They can show it, and I think showing it's a lot better than saying it sometimes,
Some people say it and don't mean it. So
right.
Actions are louder than words, I think.
Right. So there's 4 types of love, and it kind of starts at a lower scale, and then it builds up to a greater love. And the first one we're going to talk about is these are all Greek words now. Josie and I were talking about this in the back room. These are Greek words.
Yes.
And y'all don't know how many times I asked my Alexa to say these words so I could get familiar with them and I wouldn't butcher them. But y'all can go back, and if y'all are looking over the words and, study it yourself. And
I only conquered one, agape. That's the only one I conquered.
So the first one is storge, and it's spelled STORGE. Now that's a type of love, and that's the one where you have affection. That's the the type of love where you have affection, a deep emotional connection and bond that people feel toward things that they choose to keep or store. You know, things that you love. That's what that type of love is. It can
And
be
then,
about memories, you know. Go
and
ahead,
I
Joe.
have one in the same, mine says natural love between parents, children, and family members.
Yeah, it is the one I when I looked this up, it's about family heirlooms. This, to me, this
Mhm.
love is connected toward, like Josie said, friends and things that you may cherish, heirlooms that your family leave you, and you don't want anybody to do anything to them.
Mhm.
It's that type of love.
And then
And
here it said an example, a mother's bond with her child.
yeah,
That was an
uh,
example.
let's see what I have on here. Now that one I told Judge, I said we're going to start at the. I don't want to say any of these are least
Yeah.
because love is love, okay? But each one of these loves until you get to the last one, which is agape love, is agape love is you choose to love somebody. The love that we're talking about now, people have feeling. It comes from a feeling,
Mhm.
but the last one is a choice, you know. And when I've made that remark about love is a choice, and some people are like, oh no, I don't believe that. I don't believe love is a choice, you know. But that's where the four types of love come in, is the fact that all three of the other loves come from a feeling that we have, you know, like something we're attached to. But
Mhm.
agape love is a choice, which that's God's kind of love. But the next type of love that we're going to talk about is um, philia or filio, which I have under that one. Did you have that one, Josie?
Yeah, I have that one too. It's
It's
a deep,
about
affectionate friendship or brotherly love.
right. It says refers to a deep friendship and affectionate bond that people share. It's characterized by loyalty, mutual respect, and the enjoyment of others' company. This type of love goes beyond romantic feelings and is often seen in close friendships or strong relationships between family members.
Mhm.
So, like best friends, if you have a best friend, you're going to feel this type of love toward that best friend. Um, Sibling, this is the love you feel toward your sibling. Uh, Close colleagues, you know, somebody that you work with, that you may feel connected to. This is now these are all based on feelings now. This is
Mhm.
you can feel, you know, based on you choose this love because you feel something, okay? And community bonds, like in your community, you might have people that you know care about, and longtime classmates. This is just some examples of the philia love. So I've heard some people say, "Oh, you just overused the word love." You know, people say, "I love ice cream. I love this shirt. I love this program on TV. I love this." But when you boil down to it, there are four types of love. So
Mhm.
actually, it now that can come under that category. But because we were brought up in a world of romanticism and feeling and all that, we want to characterize it as this gut wrenching feeling of, oh, I'm in love, you know, like this tickling in our stomach or something, you know. And
Butterflies, butterflies. That's
yeah,
why, as far as I've always thought, there's so much problem, say with when a guy gets married And the mother, that motherly love to her son is much different than when he gets married to his wife. That mother-in-laws and sometimes daughter-in-laws have that jealousness. But what they don't realize, it's a different kind of love.
Right. You can't
know?
compare the two.
No.
You can't even put them in the same category. That's just like a husband and wife and a child and a parent. Some husbands are jealous of their child, and because the parent or the mama may pay more attention to the child, and that looks like she's loving that child more than them. I've seen it before. But you're comparing apples and oranges. It's not the same.
Yeah. And when you confuse love, there's causes a lot of stress, a lot of fights that shouldn't exist. And I think if they knew the difference between the love, there wouldn't be that type of thing.
Yeah, if you knew that there were 4 different kinds, and I think it's okay to mention, a lot of times jealousy comes in there. Hey, Radalza, I think that jealousy comes in there, and that's another human emotion, feeling, because we do not know the meanings of love. We do not know what love we're feeling, how we should feel. We just don't know. And it took, like I said, I didn't know. I thought there were only 3 types, but when I got to studying, it was 4. So
yeah,
if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't know to do better, you can't do better. And that's the way I've always said. You only do better when you know to do better. And I think Ella and I shared this on I told her this one day during her auction or on one of our programs. I said, your love for somebody has to be greater than your need for them. That's how you know you really love someone. Hey, Ellen.
Well, I've always said to really love is to let go.
What is that saying, Josie? If you love something, set it free. And if it comes back, it was meant to be. You know how that was that big saying?
I remember that saying. That's an oldie, girl.
Yeah. You know how they used to say that?
Yes.
My daughter's texting me, and I don't know why, because I told her I was going to be online.
I hope it's, hi, Ellen. Welcome.
But sometimes love can be hard to talk about because people, number one, can be afraid of it. They don't want to have anything to do with it because they've been hurt. They've had a bad childhood that they don't even know they've not ever been introduced to any part of any kind of love. And if they have, they don't recognize it, like being attached to things that they care about, or being attached to friends. They don't really know what that's all about. So I feel like by introducing the 4 steps of love and kind of letting people know, who is that? So how do you pronounce that, Josie? You're so good with names. No.
Oh yeah.
Zola Riviera. She said that's an oldie but a goodie. Hello, everyone. Welcome in.
I don't recognize Riviera. I recognize, but not the first name.
Claudette said, why do we have to overthink all the different loves? We love somebody or something. It's simple.
Because I'll bring this up. Lots of times in, say, woman-man relationship, one person might think of love different than the other person. Say a man says, I love you. It could be a brotherly love. It could be just a friendship. But a woman thinks, oh, he's madly in love with me. And sometimes that causes problems because you can love somebody like brother and sister. And so that's why we need to know the 4 kinds of love. I'll use for instance, Robin thought of Mike like her brother, her bro, and that's neat. One of my best friends in high school was a guy, and we didn't date. We were best. In fact, I had a boyfriend. He had a girlfriend, and we still talked on the phone. It was like my brother. See,
And I do think that men and women can be friends. A lot of people
they don't believe that. No.
And I think the reason that they don't believe that is because they don't trust themselves with the person, to not let it go any further than what it's supposed to be. I think it's the English language. I'll just put this out there. The English language, and we all know or should know, is the hardest language to learn because it has so many definitions to the words. The words have so many different definitions. And sometimes we use words and we don't even really know what we're saying because we've heard it meant one thing and it doesn't really mean that, And that's the thing with love. You have to be careful what love you mean, which the next one is eros, which is erotic, which that's where the word erotic come from. That's the one that we all are familiar with, that we feel all this passion and
romantic, passionate love,
this chemical connection to somebody, and that's what makes us fall in love, and that's what makes us go after somebody that may not love us. And I will say this, I don't think it can be complete love until both parties love each other, because I believe if you have the eros love, which is the romantic, lustful passion, the other person doesn't, then you don't have anything really. You have an obsession with that person, but you don't have a relationship because that person doesn't feel the same way you do.
Yeah. And when you have that first, like the heart pounding butterflies, that's necessary to begin with. But you also have to have all the other kinds of love because you don't always stay young and gorgeous or handsome. And illness comes in. And if you only have the eros love, you're not going to survive. You've got to have more than that.
I don't know how the ages of everybody in here, but when James and I first fell in love, we couldn't keep our hands off each other. We were just so in love, and of course we've been married 38 years now. We're still in love with each other, but it's different.
It's different.
And it's not different in a bad way. It's different in a good way, that love has matured out of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think you should keep passion in your marriage or in your relationship, but it is going to eventually, you can't always stay there. You have to start taking responsibility for your life. And especially if you have children, you're going to have to start, taking care of children and going to your work. And, some people say, oh, well, we'll just live off love. Okay, that's not happening.
That doesn't. No, that doesn't. You have to have at least 3 of the types of love to survive. After the first few years of marriage or a relationship, you've got to have more. And the agape love really will save your relationship too.
Ellen said, let me get to Ellen. She said, well, something's wrong with my computer.
Okay, I think there's when trouble
You can
comes
you
in.
read that, Josie? My computer's messing up. What
I
Ellen?
think that's when the trouble can come in with men and women being friends. That's the part that lasts. So if you have that first, it can get complicated.
Wait.
You know, I've known people who started off as friends and then got married, fell in love, and, it was a good relationship. They had a good marriage. Like I said, in my life, I've had a couple of men friends that there was nothing romantic. In high school, one of my best friends was a guy, and we went to a horse show together. We never held hands. We were just friends, like with my girlfriends, So that's possible, not for everyone.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
I
doesn't
think you
work.
have to weigh out the relationship, and also you have to decide who you are
Mm-hmm.
and how you are going to handle each stage of the loves. I'll just put that way, like the different types of love.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to say, all right, this is the way I'm going to treat this one. This is the way I'm going to treat this one. After you know the meaning of each one of them, you might want to practice them your own way, but at least you'll know where each category is for you to be able to start at a starting point to grow more in knowing what the different types of love, what they are. What about you in love with someone, or you're in love with this person? There's a difference there, right? What about you're in love with someone? Are you in love? Or you love this person? Oh, yes. There's a difference between being in love and loving someone. That's what this eros love is you're in love with someone. You're like passionate about them and you want a relationship. That's what that is. You feel connected to them in some way. But in order for it to work, they have to have the same feeling toward you, or it becomes an obsession and you get your heart broken. And I will say this, some people are not capable of loving as much as someone else is. They just don't have it. They don't have it in them.
And lots of times, as a child, they weren't taught love. They weren't around loving parents. But I also, and Angie and I have talked about this before, I don't like to hear when people say, well, they blame their parents for everything. And Angie and I both have had crazy mothers. And I don't even blame my mother. As an adult, you have the free will to change your life. You're responsible for changing your life. You can't always blame your parents.
Yeah, you get to a certain age, you have to get to the point to say, okay, that happened. It was not good, but I've got to learn that I need to take responsibility. And responsibility is the ability to respond to your circumstances, not somebody else's. Don't take care of somebody else's business.
Yeah.
You focus on your responsibilities and what needs to happen with you first and foremost personally in order for you to overcome that situation. And then you start learning about love and about loving someone. Love yourself first. You got to learn to love yourself.
Yep. And I use for an example, because I wouldn't be here. I mean, I love my mother because she was my mother and gave birth to me, but I didn't like her. And if you can dissect that, and no matter what background we came from, we wouldn't be here without those ancestors.
Right.
And you got to think about that.
Yeah. And also, I want to say this. I love my mother. She gave me life. She chose to to have me. She could have chose not to. Okay. All right. She chose to have me. She's not a very maternal person. That's just who she is. I don't wish any harm on her. I don't dislike her, but she's more like a stranger to me than a mother. She is some person that I would pass or know just on the fly. Just there's no relationship there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I do love her. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But we have to have boundaries. And I have to love her from a distance.
Yeah. And it's okay to love somebody from a distance.
Yes.
I mean, I
have always had more men friends than women, but you have to know why they want to be friends before you get invested. I always hung around the guys because I felt more comfortable because it was less drama. It wasn't a competition. Men handle business and then they go on and forget about it. They don't hold grudges. Well, a few of them, I won't say all men don't hold grudges, but most men.
Most of them don't like us women, though. Yeah.
Yeah, not like us. Most men will get out in their yard or in the street. They'll fight it out and get up and shake hands.
Yeah.
And women can't do that. Women will hold on to it for years and not let it go.
Yeah.
But that's just how we're made up.
I've always gotten along better with men than women because they, like my generation, guys got mad at each other. They had their fist fight and it was over. As women, we tend to not let it go. And sometimes it causes problems. And hi, Miss Hernandez and Scooter.
Hey, Auntie Mama, welcome in.
But
hey, Sassy Mary.
Love is a confusing subject, but I think if you have a background and realize the different types of love, you're not going to take, when we say we love you, you're not going to take it the wrong way if you understand the different types of love.
Yeah, like where we're coming from, what we're trying to express to you, some people think when you say I love you that you automatically are going to that romantic love, and that may not be the case, and some people think people say I love you because they're insecure and they just do it because they want somebody else to love them. I can assure you I'm very secure in people loving me. I don't say that because I need people to love me. I want you to. But if you don't, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. That's not going to be a problem. My parents never told all 8 of us they loved us, though we did feel loved by things they did with us. I make sure I broke that cycle and tell our kids that I love them daily. Yes. We never said I love you in my household when I was growing up.
My parents didn't either.
Never said it. Never said it.
And I changed that. When I leave my son's house, I say, I love you to everyone, the 3 grandkids, my son, my daughter-in-law.
When my children come here or I go to their home, we hug each other. I love you. To all of them. I'm just like Josie. James leaves for work in the morning or at night. He kisses me and he says, I love you. I'll see you in the morning. I'm like, or I'll see you this afternoon. I'm like, okay, I love you. And that's just the way it's always been. And I love that. I say the word love. I love that about that because I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have it.
No, I didn't either. I don't even want to get on that subject. I think everybody's
and take responsibility for your own actions. You change how you live and treat people. Yes.
Yes, you can. And I think it's a cop out when somebody says, "Oh, I'm that way because my childhood." Well, you can change that. You can break the generation
generational curse. You can break
Yes.
that.
I
Yeah.
didn't know if I should say that or not, but thank
Yeah,
you.
but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. You can change it. It took me a long time, but I finally changed everything in my grown-up years, when I was a kid, because I never heard my parents even tell each other they loved each other. Never
Right.
heard it. Never seen it.
Women in my life so far have the chat jump have been drama filled and needy. Men are more direct and easier to talk to. Yes.
You are right, Ellen.
I'm
100%
glad to have
right.
found this on because there
Online.
seems to be only a few rational women in each state, and this is why I can chat with them
With them.
all without traveling. Yes, and Josie and I were just talking about that before we come on here about our YouTube community and how even though we've never met each other, because we were talking about Robin
Yeah.
and what she meant to us, even though we had never met Robin in person, I've never met Josie, I've never met any of you. I feel a connection, a certain form of love I feel toward you. But here's the thing, as we get to know each other and build a relationship, you feel closer and more love the more of a relationship you build. It turns into a different type of love.
Mm-hmm. And it's something that Angie and I talked about. It just hit me this morning when I heard about Robin, because both her and Pam lived in Ohio and both were Christian women. And I remember Pam saying to me, one of these days, Robin and I are going to meet. And within a week and a half or so, they both left this world. And it just, with my faith, I know they've met in heaven.
I was telling Josie, I said, can you just imagine Pam going, Robin, what are you doing? What are you doing up here, Robin? Can you just see it? I just have this imagination, just trying to picture them two just, seeing each other like, what?
Yeah.
And it made me kind of laugh.
I'm sure she didn't expect it so soon, but just ironic, like I said, just hit me today like, wow.
It says, hey Scooter, I see that you come in. I don't like that's a cop out. Yes.
Yes.
When you get to a certain age, it is, because then you are wanting sympathy.
And on my mind, yeah.
You are wanting people to feel your pain, and you're usually, which I'm gonna use this word, it's usually called manipulation. Mm-hmm. When you get to that, you can correct it, but you don't. You're using it as a crutch. You are trying to manipulate it for somebody to make you feel a certain way. You want a feeling. And a lot of us live, and I myself included, on a feeling. You want a feeling. And sometimes love is not a feeling. It's not always that. And because, and I would say everybody in here has probably fell in love before or thought they did. And they had that endorphins going off and all that chemistry moving. And boy, does that feel good. So we're constantly wanting that feeling, of love. We're constantly needing that. And it's not going to happen. You need to love people without wanting that feeling. You need to love them. And that's the next love that is on the list for us to talk about, is that. Let me see what's in the.
I've always said, and this is not very nice of me to say this, but I've always said when women think they're in love, they're pretty stupid. They do some stupid things.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And what you see, Josie, and I don't know if you feel this way or the chat or whatever. Okay, and I've told James Smith this, and I've been married to him 38 years, and I've never been a jealous type person. He has not either. In our relationship, we're not jealous. But I told him, I said, if you think that I am gonna physically fight another woman for you, you're wrong. Because I'm like this. If you want her and she wants you, bye.
Yeah, go.
You come a dime a dozen, you know. But I don't see how some women do that, but they do it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, Ellen once said something about Pam and the kittens. Yeah, I wrote to John this morning, and I know he's probably overwhelmed with everything he has to do, but I told him at least he has the kittens to keep him busy.
So how's he doing, Josie?
He's been pretty quiet. I think they had, a big old house full of stuff. And I think I can envision him standing in the middle of the house looking around like, what am I going to do with all this stuff, Pam, that you left me with? And but he's a really good Christian man. He'll find his way.
And I want to say this too about when you love someone, whether it be a child, a husband, a wife, whatever type of love it is, who's that person? You know what I'm saying? And you have a loss and you have to grieve that person. That is one of the most horrible things that can happen. But you have to understand, the deeper that you're grieving and the deeper that you are hurting shows just how much you really, really love that person. Mm-hmm. It is just a process that we have to go through because we gave our complete being to another human being. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us are afraid to get back in a relationship after that happens. And you should give yourself time to heal. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But, love makes the world go around, and we need to reach out and love each other and care about each other and want to help each other.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say. I never had a problem with that. My friends used to say, Joe, you could be kicked down in the bottom, but you just pick up the pieces and go on. I never blamed one person for somebody else's actions. That you can't say, okay, somebody hurt me, so now everybody that comes into your life, you're going to
be mad at them.
And you're going to be mad. That's not love. That's not kindness. It's selfishness.
Urena said, I so identify with this subject discussed today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can ever go wrong with discussing love.
Yep.
But we have to know what we're discussing, and we have to know what it's all about, and not just flippantly go through life not knowing. But once you know, okay, now here's the deal. Once you know, you're responsible to live it the way that you know. Mm-hmm. As long as you go through, people say ignorance is bliss. As long as I don't know it, then I don't have to, be responsible. Well, here you go. We're talking about it. You're learning about it. This is the type of love you should practice, and be conscious of it so you won't hurt somebody. Well, or somebody won't hurt you.
For an example, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, Angie, but when we in an auction or a live stream and we say we love you, I know for myself, and I think I can speak for Angie, we really mean it. And what we mean by it, we love that you take the time out of your life and come and spend it with us. We love that in the chat, you're showing love, kindness, you're mingling with people, you're communicating. We love that. We love that you take the time to watch our video. And of course, when you buy from me, I'm not even going to say I love it. I like it because it helps me. I don't love you because you buy from me. I love you because you support my channel by being with me.
Right. And my love for you is greater than my need for you, because I'm wanting to, and I'm going to say this: love is giving, love is not taking. And but though you do have to receive sometimes, but when you give out love, it's a free gift that you're giving someone. It's a free pass. It's a, saying, we're friends, I love you, but I think if you're haven't been familiar with the 4 types of love, or you're not familiar with really how to love, you could start practicing it, family, or with your children or your pets or whoever. You don't have to start it out in public, or you have nothing to prove. You just start it within yourself. Start loving yourself more. Take care of yourself. Urena says, I don't have a good relationship with my mom at all. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. You're at the right place.
Yeah, you're in the right chat. And I never knew my biological father. I didn't know mine until I was 32 years old. And I'm a result of a one-night stand. And I'm not ashamed of that, because I would not be here if that had not happened. Okay. And I never was angry at my mom because of that. That wasn't the reason. But my grandma was my everything. And see, that's the way my life was. My mom's mom was more like a mother to me than my mom. But children, okay, get this, and I don't know how much the chat will agree with this or not, but children come here and they have a sense of who loves them and who doesn't. They automatically know. And my grandchildren, and I was telling Josie this, I said, when my grandchildren walk through the door, I light up like a Christmas tree, because I want them to remember me as, oh, my Gigi loved me. Oh my gosh, every time I'd go to her house, she would just, oh, come here, baby, and let me hug you and love you. I want them to remember me like that. And children remember things like that.
Ellen, my heart goes out to you. It's such a difficult situation.
Wait, she said, my mother at 70 has decided I'm out to get her because I tried to get social services to help them. Lots of issues. They moved and refused to tell me and Doug where, and no new phone number. I guess she made her choice. It's been 10 years since I seen them, and apparently I won't ever see them again. So when their passings trinkle to me through the grapevine, I won't grieve.
And if I can say something without pushing my beliefs on anyone, and I'm going to say it, take it or leave it. The way I believe, if you really say you're a Christian, what you're going through, Ellen, that's not loving and following what the Lord wants us to do.
That made me cry, Ellen. I'm so sorry.
It's just, life is so short, and that's all nonsense.
And they made their choice.
They made their choice, and it's not your fault, Ellen. You had all the right ideas.
You did what you did, but with a choice. You chose to, and you had your reasons.
Yeah.
And that's what I say, Josie. It's nobody knows what anybody else is going through on YouTube.
No.
They don't know people's backstories. I never knew that about Ellen. I didn't know that about Urena. That's why when you go into a chat, prejudging someone and setting your opinion of someone and targeting them, because some people target other people on YouTube to bully them, to be mean to them, to shun them, to make them feel less. Okay, here's the thing. Don't do that. You don't know what somebody is dealing with. Because we can come on here and pretend that everything is perfect and it's falling down around us.
I've made up my mind in the last few months that the closer I get to the Lord, and not because I'm old. I've worked at this for many years. I used to actually be an elder in the church in Nevada. I won't put up with drama. I'm not going to get angry at anyone. If I feel like their actions are bothering or hurting me, I can just kindly walk away, love them from a distance. I'm not going to get into, I thought it's all a waste of energy when we can be happy and love and help each other out.
And live in peace.
And live in peace. All of that other nonsense is a waste of time. You are born and you are going to die.
We're all going to do it. We're all going to do it.
Yeah. And I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much material things you have. And there isn't a doctor in the world that can save your life.
No.
And so I have thrown all that, and I'll call it crap, because that's what it is. We don't like something someone says, and so we're mad, and then we talk about it, and
it just grows and grows.
It's not love. True love is.
And I feel like you should go to that person and say what you want to say, and allow them to say what they want to say, and it be over. That it's just like, okay, that's it, And since so many people cannot do that.
Since I've changed the way I think, I wish you could feel what I feel. It's like the most beautiful freedom in the world. To be who you are.
And I was talking to Josie. I said, just because someone is angry with me or they don't like me, that doesn't mean I'm angry at you because you're angry at me. That doesn't mean I don't like you because you don't like me. I mean, we grow up thinking, okay, well, if she don't like me, I don't have anything for her or whatever. Or if she's mad at me, I'm going to be mad at her. No, I'm not. It's just like Josie said, life is too short. I don't have time for all that. I don't have time for it. And I will listen to anybody that wants to come and, share. And I'm not saying don't speak your piece and have your moment. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't carry it around, because it's going to make you physically sick. It's going to make you emotionally sick. It's going to cause other relationships to go bad, because you can't fix a certain relationship. It filters over into relationships that you care about, and you don't want to do that. Sassy said, sorry, can't stay. I'm an emotional wreck tonight. Our dog crossed over the Rainbow Bridge this afternoon.
I'm sorry, Sassy Mary.
That's something, because I've had that happen. And I have cried like a baby before because one of our pets had passed. And that's why we don't have one right now. Because I told James, I said, I can't do it again. I can't.
Yeah, I held my little Shih Tzu. Her name was Nutmeg in my arms, and she died in my arms. And it's hard.
Ellen, she said, Josie, I understand where you're coming from. It's so complicated, and I'm at peace with it. It's been a difficult life with them. Honestly, we're better away from the family. Yes, I totally agree, Ellen, that you've got to that point, because I'm there. I have total peace about everybody that's in my life and who I have to love from a distance.
Mhm.
I'm okay with it. And people say, well, how can you go years without speaking to this one? And I'm like, well, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at them. It's just they bring so much contention and so much drama that I just don't have time for it.
Yeah. And people don't understand that they're wasting their time when they don't love, they just hate. And I can't remember what year, but I remember many, many years ago, they did a study on stress in different, along that line. And they actually decided and proved that stress causes cancer.
I believe it.
And so, why do we want, say, in the YouTube world, somebody doesn't agree with somebody else and everybody's mad and taking sides? Why does anyone want to waste their time? And I've been there, done that, but no more.
Yeah. And I want to say this. The last love that we'll talk about is called agape love, and that's God's love. And
Yeah.
I know most of you or all of you in here believed in a higher power, believe in God. Josie and our faith is a Christian faith. We believe in Jesus Christ. Whatever your belief is, we're not judging you for it, and we're not going to not love you because you don't have the same faith we do.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about this love because this love is called agape love. And this is the one that I really want to talk about, that it's a choice, because it says it's the kind of love that is unselfish, unconditional, and sacrificial. It's not based on feelings. It's not based on a feeling, because what you don't understand, in our Christian belief, we know that God does not have feelings like we do, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's God. He doesn't have crying and getting angry, and because he's love. He can't have the same emotions that we do, okay? But he understands our emotions because he created us. And it also said, or what someone else does for you. It's love that keeps giving, even when it doesn't get anything in return. That's what agape love is.
Mm-hmm.
And
my notes, it says it's the highest form of love.
Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? Josie left us. Where did you go, Josie? She must have hit a button. Anyway, the agape love, let me read some of it. I grieved a long time ago the loss of my parents. Now it will be sad passing of someone I used to know. I did what I could, and I know I did my best. Exactly. Yeah, you can grieve someone while they're alive, because I've done it. And then when they do finally pass away, you've already grieved them. Here she is. Here she is.
All of a sudden, I went out.
I know what happened.
I don't know.
You
Anyway,
just disappeared. I was like, what?
I know. And my internet's fine. I don't know. Anyway, it says it's the highest form of love, selfless, sacrificial, and unconditional. Agape is the love that God has for humanity. It is divine love that is not based on merit or condition. It's unconditional, self-giving, does not expect anything in return.
And it is one of the hardest loves to conquer, because we as human beings have what we call a will. We have our own will. God give us a will, which is our kryptonite, which gets in our way all the time. And we don't. And I want to say this: it's okay to love someone. All right,
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Don't be ashamed that you love someone. It's okay to say that you love someone when everybody else may be angry with that person, or they don't like that person, or they're not the most popular person in the world, and you might say, I love them. And that closes people up really fast when you take up for someone when they're not even present, when they're not even around. And just remember that. And you know what? Love is so much easier to do than to hold a grudge and dislike somebody. Yeah. When you love people, it's so easy. It's like that's what we're supposed to do. So it comes easy. But when you hold a grudge, it takes so much energy out of you. It takes your nights. Sometimes you can't sleep because you're thinking about it and you want to say this, this, and this, and you want to get it off your chest. You want to run and tell somebody so they'll be angry at that person. And it just takes up so much energy. But when you start loving someone, it's so easy.
So my question too, for the audience, how do you feel about the 4 types of love? What's your feelings about?
Yeah, how do you practice it as far as hey Kathy, welcome in.
Hi Kathy.
How has it made any difference hearing the conversation about the 4 different types, or are you okay in your life where you are right now as far as the way you love people or love things? It's baby steps, not magic. Yes, it's growing. Exactly. We're on a journey of growth, and it's not going to come overnight.
No.
And we're going to once we take a step forward, we're going to take 2 steps back, because I want to share something that I shared with Josie. I sprained my ankle and I thought I broke it. And I know y'all heard this on my live. Well, when I had to stand up on it, and when I have to stand up on it now, which I don't do it as bad now as I did when it first happened, I was saying an ugly word. I mean, I was like, and I would just say that ugly word over and over again. It hurt so bad. And I was saying, Lord, you know where my heart is. You know that. And I told Josie, I said, it's so great that God understood where I was coming from, that he knows my heart, but he also knew I was in pain. And when I should have been calling out his name, I was saying that ugly word. That's just how human we are, and he understands that. And nobody's perfect. And once it eased up a little bit, a couple of days, I tell James, okay, I'm not saying that word as much as I was. I'm not saying that word as much as I was. But nobody's perfect, and everybody fails when it comes to loving someone. You even make mistakes with your children. You make mistakes with your husband. But the main thing you should know about love is love wants to mend. It wants to mend things. It doesn't want to separate things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people want to quickly walk away from a relationship because they don't want to compromise, or they want to be right, and they'd rather be right and lose the relationship than to compromise and say, okay, I want to look at your point of view. I want to see how you feel. I want to see it through your eyes. I may not agree with it, but I really want to see it through your eyes. Yep. Especially on this platform. Especially on this platform.
Yeah. Communication. I've always said communication is the key.
I never really thought about the 4 loves because I don't know that. I didn't know there were 4 loves. I don't understand. I do understand it more now. Yes.
Good. Let's see. There was something here. I was on my notes. Think about recent moments when you felt loved, or when you gave love to someone else. What kind of love was it? Today, let's explain the many ways love shows up in our lives.
That's
You
a
think
good one.
about
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Even to me, especially at my age, waking up in the morning, I feel loved. The Lord
Yes.
loves me. uh, you have food on your plate. You have food in the house. You have a roof over your head. So many people, we take life for granted. I don't. I know
No.
there's a lot of homeless people in Southern California. Um, but love is in so many ways. There's so many things to feel loved about. If you have a job and you're making a good living, that's even love. Love is, that word is, I think, just used in one area where it should be used in a lot of areas.
Helen said, I feel love when Angie drops a sweet comment on my post.
See?
Well,
Yeah.
I'll share this with you. Growing up, because I didn't really know what love was or anything about it, I would pick and choose who I would love and I would allow to love me. I wouldn't allow everybody to hug me. I would only allow people that I cared about to hug me. I never would love people that I didn't want to. I would pick and choose. But now that I've grown into the love and know what it's all about, I just want everybody to experience love,
Yeah,
to
me
know
too.
what it is. You know, hello, Mike. Hello, Michael. Welcome in. But I think, honestly, Angie, I love that you enjoy my post. It makes me feel like someone is interested. Oh, I'm interested. I really enjoy those goldfish pond videos that you put out. I really, really enjoy them because I've always wanted a goldfish pond. I know I'm never going to have one, so I can enjoy yours. And that's the thing about YouTube, Josie.
Mhm.
You know this too. I'm never going to travel all these states where these people that I meet on YouTube live. I'm never probably going to go to Canada to see Claudette, though I hope I do. Um, I pray that I do, like you say pray. And I pray that she comes here and we meet one day. I really do. But the odds of that is rare. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but we need to embrace each other on this platform and show how much we care about each other, because what happened to Robin, none of us was expecting that. And I have no regret of how I ever treated Robin. I never said a negative word to her. She never said I don't know if she ever said a negative word to anybody. I don't even think she ever did.
She was a great, great
She was
friend.
a
Great
wonderful person in the chat and always had a good sense of humor and loved her dogs, bought them jewelry, wanted them to wear bling. I mean,
Yes, she bought so much bling from me for her dogs. But you know what made me really sad too? When I was thinking, I checked the tracking. I shipped a package to her, and I know there was a ring she bought that she really loved, and it's going to arrive at her place on Saturday. And I thought it just broke my heart. She never got to see it in person.
um, Kathy said, I don't think I've ever felt it. Okay, Kathy, this is what I would like to say to you. First of all, I've watched a few of your little short videos about you showing nature and things like that. So I know that you're a very in tune type of person and probably are a deep thinker. I would say don't overthink it. And I'm not saying you don't love yourself. I'm just saying embrace who you are and then reach out to people and don't be afraid to. Because when you do, God brings the right people into your life for you to be able to find out what that is, you know? And I don't know if you're a praying person, I don't know if you're a Christian, I don't know what your belief is. But if you pray about it, he's going to bring the right things in. He is.
Mm-hmm. I'm a retired nurse, and I have seen miracles.
And people here on this platform, they come here, and I've heard other channels say this, Josie, you can contest to this. They come here for connection because they live alone. They don't have loved ones that they are either they're estranged or they don't have loved ones. They don't have children. Their spouse has passed away. They're lonely. So they come on this platform, and some of them may be aggressive at first and just want people to want to be with them, and they come on strong. But I can share something with you. When somebody comes on strong, in a chat, wanting attention or whatever, kind of step back a moment and say, I don't know what this person's going through. I don't know if they are needing something, and try to understand it. Now, I do agree if they keep doing it, it's a problem. But at first, kind of evaluate it and say, what can I offer this person? A word of encouragement, an invitation to come to my chat room, like, you're welcome here. And that's what I want my chat to be, and my channel to be, is for people to have a soft place to land, to come here with no drama, no bullying, no backstabbing, no condemnation, just to have a chat. That's what I want my channel to be.
Yep. And from what I see, you've made it. It's a great channel. And I have tried to keep mine very safe, no drama. And like I said, if you ever watch me, I get so involved in the chat sometimes I'm not really paying much attention to the jewelry I'm showing.
Ellen says, I'm a tree-hugging, barefoot, nature and critter-loving, tinfoil hat-wearing weirdo that truly means what I say. I wish you all much peace and love and harmony, and you can't do anything about it.
I love it, Ellen. That's wonderful.
I didn't ever know that Ellen was Desert Rose.
Yeah.
She has another channel, Desert Rose. I did not know that for a long time. And so once I realized that she was, had the two channels, and I started visiting, she has a devotion on her that comes out. If you subscribe to her, she has a devotion that comes out like Terry, the Creek, you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of her name.
Unique by the Creek.
Yeah, Creek. And I watch both of those every morning before I start doing my devotion. I watch both of those.
See, the problem is I'm on Pacific time, and some of you come on so early. I'm still in bed.
And that's how I've got. And see, that's what I'm trying to say. When you go visit some of these channels, and you might not want to go into a live, you might just want to observe it. Because let me share something with you. There are some places you should not be. And I have found places that I should not have been. And I never went into the chat, but I knew I wasn't supposed to be there because it was drama. It was
you should tell them the story about that, you and me.
Yeah. So Josie and I were talking one day, as we do sometimes, and I started talking about this drama channel that I was following. And I said, oh, Josie, I've been following this drama channel, and I cannot, it is just getting, it was getting so deep that I was getting unrest. And that's how involved I was getting into it. It can enthrall you. And I was giving her a little detail of it. She said, Angie, I think we're watching the same channel. She said, I think I'm watching that same channel. And lo and behold, we were watching the same channel. But we never went into the chat. Okay? But it was horrific what was going on. It was bad. It was really bad what was going on. And I finally just had to say, Lord, this is wrong. Because he was convicting me of it. It was like, don't go back there. Don't go over there. And I didn't. Because it was causing me so much stress. So what I'm telling you is stay away from those channels and the drama. Just stay away from it.
And a lot of people, I hate to say, just do it for money and clicks and, comments and mountains. Oh, okay. So it'll be 6:33 a.m. Eastern. I will stop in. Now today I ended up getting up early because I got a message about Robin, and I certainly couldn't go back to sleep after that.
Okay, and I want to say one last thing. We've been on an hour and 20 minutes, but I want to say this. You can't fix anyone.
No.
Okay, none of us can fix anybody else. I don't care if it's your child, your husband, your best friend, your parents, your brother or sister, people on YouTube. You cannot fix somebody else. They have to be willing to change or be different, or don't let somebody drain you of who you are because they want you to fix them. They want it to be all about them. And I will say this, friendship is a two-way street, just like a marriage and just like any other relationship. If you have a friendship with somebody, it's a two-way street. It's not for one of those friends to automatically just suck the life out of you and you never get anything out of it. That's not a friendship.
No.
So be careful when you get connected to people. And even though you love them and you really want them to be your friend, you may have to love them from a distance, until they mature a little bit, because we're all not the same age and growth. We're all not on the same street. We're not all in the same town. And I'm talking about emotionally. We're all on different levels and in different places. So that's how I felt with 5,000 subscribers. But I'm just saying that's my last advice that I'll give. I've learned that anytime I give you something like that, I've had to learn it. Okay? I've had to live it. I've had to go through it. I'm not trying to boss you and tell you what to do. I'm just telling you, I've had to live it. So I'm trying to kind of help you not get hurt if you want,
And it's never too late to learn. It took me a long time, and you all know I'm old. But it took me a long time to get where I am.
And see, Josie just said a little bit ago, I've learned, and she shared with you what she learned about living in peace and how she wasn't going to get angry and how everything was going to be smooth. Okay, here she is at her age, and she's still learning. And that's the way I want to be. I wake up every morning thinking, what am I going to discover today? What am I going to learn? And I think if you do that, you're not paying attention to the person over here that's trying to stir up whatever they're trying to stir up.
I love electronics. I still learn programs. To me, you cannot, how should I say this? If you don't want your brain cells to die off, you need to continually learn. You need to have some project. I don't care what it is, but you can't just sit and watch TV all day and not use that brain. And so, yes, I learn. And I think in the last 5 years, my personality is probably completely different than it was before.
Oh, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not the same. And it should be that way.
You should change.
You should be growing.
I hear people that are so afraid of change, but if you're really growing like we're supposed to be, you're going to change. Yeah. And that's what happens to some relationships, because say two people get married, they're very young. And as you age, you have a different maturity. So your personalities are going to change, and that's where they have problems in the relationship, because maybe one changed, but the other didn't.
That's right.
So
That's what I was talking about. Both sides has to be equally wanting the
Mhm.
relationship to work. If one is not, then it's not going to work.
Yeah. So never be afraid of change.
Change
Just
is good sometimes. Change is really good sometimes.
Mhm.
Josie,
Yep.
what was that you were saying? Um, you remember when we were younger and we were just we'd fall in love with this one or love that one and we just prayed that it would work
Oh
and we
yes.
could live happily ever after. And then years later we look back and go, oh, thank the Lord that didn't work out.
Thank God for unanswered prayers.
Yes. And it happens all the time. Like, oh, I'm so glad I get stuck with him.
I actually remember going in at that time when I was growing up. My family was a Catholic, and I remember going into the Catholic church during the day and sitting in the pew praying because I thought I was madly in love with this one kid. And thank God it didn't happen.
Yeah, you can look
So,
back now and say, oh, I see. Thank you, Lord. I see. But
mhm.
anyway, we have enjoyed you.
Yes.
We are thankful you were here. Anytime you want to reach Josie, her email is in
Right
her
there on the
page on her
screen.
page on her YouTube channel. Mine is on my YouTube channel. Feel free to email us anytime. If y'all have a topic y'all want to talk about in months to come, we can put you on the list of things to discuss. And we love you all, and we hope to see y'all next time that we have the calm before the storm.
And next month it'll be on my channel. So if you have, like Angie already said, if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, let me know. Send me an email.
Exactly. And we love you all, and we'll see you
Bye,
next
everyone.
time. Bye,
Right.
everyone.
Bye.
Did it end?
We're still on.
I know. I'm hitting the end